Yo, welcome to Two Dudes and a Room.
Welcome. We welcome you all to our 15th episode.
The big 1-5,
The
baby.
big 1-5. And we're here to bring y'all the juice, just like we always do.
Do you think we'd ever, did you ever think we'd get here, man? Episode 15?
No, I knew we'd get here.
Oh, you just knew. You just like
Yeah.
that. Okay, I'm sorry.
To the top, baby.
Okay. Well,
15, that's nothing.
that's nothing.
That's nothing.
Well, we recently adjusted your top parameters because they were set to Cyndi Lauper, and I had to explain to him that
Cyndi Lauper's pretty great.
she's pretty great.
She's pretty great.
She's pretty great.
There's no problem with
wanting
to be Cyndi Lauper.
No, there's no problem. Although he did educate me on the fact that she didn't just create one big song; she also created. It's From Time to Time, right? The other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another good song. That once he told me about that song was kind of stuck in my head for like 40 minutes afterwards. So
yeah,
she
you're
had
welcome.
to.
She has an effect on people. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's not like
Cyndi Lauper.
It's just a good song.
Is one of the voices of time.
I don't know if I would go that far. She's not even in the top 40. That's the thing I had to educate him on, is that she's not even in the top 40 female artists.
Oh my god.
Not by any metric. I mean, even if you look at like record sales or like anything like that. So I was like, look, man, I know you like Cyndi Lauper, but let's aim for the top, man. We're trying to be
But
successful
Cyndi
here.
Lauper was at the top,
She's not even in the top 40 of all time, man.
and she stayed there.
No, she didn't actually. It's funny that you talk about this because I did some research. I had to go through a lot of like old. No offense if you're older when you're listening to this, but I had to go through a lot of like old people talking about Cyndi Lauper, people who were around at that time. I went on a lot of forums actually, and I had someone who specifically broke down Cyndi Lauper versus Madonna. It was a very specific like A versus B,
Right.
And it was actually kind of interesting because I'm not
Right.
super educated on that stuff.
Right. It's kind of odd that you would go to these lengths just to
No. I
try
just
and dunk on.
No,
me.
I'm not trying to dunk on you. I just wanted to explain to the people listening, like, I found this was an interesting fact, but I was reading about it, and they brought up this very same thing, this whole, like, view that she was at the top. They were like, well, at the time, like, Madonna was considered at the top. When Cyndi Lauper showed up, she showed up for a second, and then she went away. And Madonna showed up a little bit slower, but then started rising way faster. And once she got to the top, she stayed there. She stayed there for a long time. And that's why she's remembered a lot more. That's the difference between someone who is a top 40 and someone who isn't. So I was like, you know what, man? Let's aim for that top. Let's aim for that, like, the top 40, at least, like, I'd like to aim for the top 25 or maybe the top 10. 40 is a big number, but,
Right.
I want to aim for, someone who is actually at the top. But, we're not here to talk about the factual evidence against Cyndi Lauper and why she's too low of a bar to aim for success. We're here to talk about the question of the day, my man. I mean, we're 3 minutes in and we haven't even brought it up.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to point out just before we move on from this point that Cyndi Lauper is an amazing artist, and we'd love for her to come on the show and talk about how wrong Nathan is about being at the top. And that is an official invitation, Cyndi. So if you hear this,
you're welcome anytime. And
You're
Cyndi,
welcome.
I'm sure you would set Oscar straight. And even though you're an amazing artist, talk about how amazing Madonna is.
no,
because you understand.
Nobody's saying that Madonna isn't amazing.
You understand better than anybody the difference between someone at your level and someone at her level, and you can give us some
Right.
insight.
I really
about
want you to say that.
Well,
in front of
I'm
Cyndi.
sure.
I
She's,
really want you to say that into Cindy's
I'm sure that
face.
she's a humble, successful artist. She can
she
can
is.
put her pride aside and admit that like she's
She
not
is a
top
class
40.
act.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper.
Not a top 40, but so let's get to this stuff. Let's
okay,
go.
for sure. What's the question of the day?
Well, the question of the day, which was provided by us, I think it was by the CCCP. Would you mind bringing up that window just so I can see who we
Yeah,
can credit
sure.
for this guy?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's the there you go. It was they put the CCP. Okay, it was the CCP, not the CCCP, the USSR. So the question of the day today is going to be, how do we feel about censorship, and is it a necessary evil? Which is kind of a big question. That's like a philosophical question.
Yeah.
But I liked it because I feel like it's something that I'm pretty passionate about, and it's something I can talk about for a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
So censorship, man. What do you think about censorship, Oscar? What's your? I mean, I guess we got to kind of define what we mean here.
Yeah. Go ahead. Censorship.
Could you talk into the mic there? I know it's like a different.
Listen. I think that censorship is like it says, it's a necessary evil at like certain levels. Sure. I mean, especially for things like you know, children and stuff like that. There's certain things that like maybe shouldn't be, like, I don't think kids should be allowed to like see like Rambo or something like that, depending on,
maybe not when they're like 7.
exactly, depending on like, you know, the child. You know, different kids are different. So I think that I'd have to be,
I mean, is that censorship though?
I think that certain things, maybe like national secrets, 100% should be like censored to certain people.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to define. It's more of like if you give me like a situation and you like ask me like, oh, should this be censored or not?
Yeah, yeah, it's a case by. So you're saying it's a case by case basis.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I think I agree with you. Like, if you want to give the most accurate answer possible, you have to go case by case.
Yeah.
But if you want to say a general answer, I think that censorship is very dangerous. Like, so, I think it's something that like, you know, I view censorship as a necessary evil, if you will. Like,
yeah,
it has to be used to protect, but
it's 100%. I think it's 100% necessary. I don't even think it's like an evil, per se, because if you think about it, like things like with you know, like yelling bomb in an airport, or you know, yelling fire in a movie theater, things that you like.
I mean, yeah, and
things like that, like you shouldn't be able to just, you know,
sure.
fuck up
Although
everybody's day.
I don't think that's people's.
I
don't think that's most people's thing they think about when they think of censorship. Though.
Well, I mean, but that's like one of the things. That's what I'm saying, is that's one of the things that comes with, you know, like people. Right. If you give them absolute freedom,
yeah,
they're gonna use it absolutely.
Sure, definitely. But that's kind of like the same as like saying that people can't think for themselves. Like, that's like saying, you know, people can't have certain tools or can't have certain things because we just can't trust them with it. It's important to bring up that freedom of speech isn't the only form of censorship. Censorship is also not giving people information, you know, or like hiding things from others. So it's a weird spot because, like, I say it's a necessary evil because it's something that in a perfect world wouldn't exist. It's something that in a perfect world wouldn't need to exist. You wouldn't need to censor information. You know what I mean? And I also believe that, like, you know, people should say what they need to be able to say, but the real thing that matters with censorship is who's doing it.
Right.
That's what I like. Okay, sure, I can understand, you know, you don't want to be giving out like top secret clearance information to every civilian on the street because now they're suddenly equipped with, you know, extremely dangerous info. But at the same time, who gets to decide what needs to be censored or not? You know what I mean?
Right.
And those people need to be, you got to keep check on those people because they might abuse that power. That's all I'm trying to say, you know?
Yeah.
Just like you're saying censorship has to be created so that people don't abuse their freedom of speech, because that's basically what you said about like the bomb thing.
Sure.
People also need to be we also need to make sure people don't abuse censorship, I guess. That's kind of my stance on it.
Yeah, but I'm saying that with the way the world is right now, like it's necessary. 100%. Because like
we're in agreement there.
If you think about like all the things that like the military does and stuff like that, if people were just allowed to know literally everything that you know, the military was doing at all times, a lot of people would get hurt. Yeah,
I mean, I think the military thing is more of just like a straight up like logistical problem where we were talking about this the other day, like our military tactics, we now live in a world where like information is the weapon.
Right.
You know, like intelligence and information is the weapon.
Right.
And so obviously you can't just give away intelligence or information when that's the weapon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, you know, that I understand. I like to talk about the whole censorship thing as more of like what you're allowed to say on the internet, or like how people are starting to take like not offending others to the point where it's stopping people from being able, they're like afraid to say I don't want to talk about the cases where people are just like straight up being racist on the internet. Obviously,
Right.
like that's not cool.
Right.
But I'm talking about cases where, bro, like I don't know if you realize the feeling of being on the internet, like the environment we're in has changed. Now, like there are people who are afraid to speak their minds because they're literally afraid of getting like yelled at or offending someone or canceled.
Yeah, but I think that so in that sense, like I don't think that scenario is like as bad as people think it is. Like if you're going to say something that like offends something, you know, everybody knows the line. You know how like people say like don't cross the line and stuff like that. Everybody knows where that line is. Everybody knows where the line is. Everybody knows where the line is. Everybody knows that there are certain things you shouldn't say to people. And like I think that the problem is today that people just want to say whatever.
Yeah, but that's because of a lot of that is
what it is that people are afraid of they want freedom of speech, which they have. They just want freedom of consequences. They don't want to be punished for what they say. And like my thing is that if you're gonna say it, you have to be prepared for the consequences.
I think that's totally true, but that's not what's being told. What's being told isn't freedom of consequences. You know, you have to own up to what you say on the internet. What's being said is you can't say it. Like people are getting their shit censored, like the word censored. Accounts are getting deleted. Posts are getting like taken away.
But that has to do with like
but things didn't
TOS.
used to be like that.
Right.
Things didn't used to be like that.
Right.
That's a new thing that's come with, hey, you're not allowed to offend people.
Yes.
You're not, that's my point. Is that
my thing is like the internet is like the Wild West.
not anymore.
Not anymore. That's what I'm saying. It's getting I don't want to say better, but it's getting
I wouldn't
more,
I wouldn't go that far.
It's getting
No, man. All that's happened is that the world's culture has changed.
like give me an example of like something that like people can't say anymore.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't come up with an example off the top of my head on a recording.
Well,
but
yeah.
I'm just trying to say, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, people are afraid to I feel like people are afraid to speak their mind a lot more now.
Like my question is, what are you afraid to say?
It's not that like I have a specific list of things I'm afraid to say. It's that I've seen so many people get like yelled at for saying something or people taking something that someone says and misusing it to mean something else.
Right.
That happened with the whole Hogwarts Legacy thing.
Right.
Like literally that whole community trying to shut down the game over one thing that J.K. Rowling said, and then someone actually went and found where this all started, and it came from a question about like, how do you feel? It was like, how do you feel that you're like, you know, actively hurting like the trans community, and J.K. Rowling like shook off the comment, basically shrugged off the comment and was like, look, it feels great to get a paycheck. That's what she said. Like that's a paraphrase of what she said. What she actually said was like, I look at my paycheck and I feel great. Like that's all she was saying. And someone took that and they turned it into saying, okay, well, J.K. Rowling is actively going out to hurt the trans community, and that's what this game is. And then that spreads. The problem with the internet nowadays is that things spread like wildfire. So remember how we talked about the idea of like the medieval village? How there's like the village idiot, you know? There's like the village idiot, and then there's like the common person, right? The normal person.
Right.
And then there's like maybe the maybe there's like the church, you know, and the church is like the authority of the village.
Sure.
And then every now and then maybe like a royal guard or a royal knight comes through the village and brings news of the outside world. And as far as the villagers are concerned, he is like the source of truth for that information. You know, they don't have the ability to get that information. You know what I'm saying? So that, remember when we had like the whole Salem witch trials and all that stuff? There's like a groupthink that's fostered in that environment because they're in this little bubble. But the problem that's happened now is because you can instantly message anyone or talk to anyone on the internet at any time or read anything, bolstered by the fact that you can post almost anonymously with you know, and say whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Now that bubble is the whole world. The village is the whole world. So you still have Salem witch trials. You still have people taking one thing and blowing it up to a proportion that it was never at initially, which is what happened there.
Right.
And in that case, you have people trying to there were so many people on Twitter that were like, dude, I just want to play the game. Like, I don't know. I'm not even that big of a Harry Potter fan.
Right.
I just want to try the game out. And there were people like spoiling the game for them to do anything they can to harm the game.
I don't know. I think that
that was happening.
Yeah, I understand, but like, to me, like, people not liking a take or a what am I trying to say? People not liking your takes, or people not liking your I don't know, let's say something like maybe something you enjoy or something like that. People not liking that and not vibing with you and doing something to stop you from enjoying it, right? It's always going to happen. It's just how you let
what concerns me is not, I don't like being on the internet where people disagree with me.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What concerns me is the quickness, the speed at which bandwagoning occurs.
Okay.
Because this happens on this has happened with almost every community.
Yeah,
it's
but
not
it's
not like
usually,
this one J.K. Rowling.
But when you look at it as like a macro thing, it's usually like a big vocal minority of some niche thing on the internet. Like let's take the Harry Potter thing, right? When the Harry Potter game came out, there was this huge backlash against J.K. Rowling because she's a TERF or whatever, and that community attacked J.K. Rowling and anybody who wanted to support the game financially, even though this is $1 billion company and she's already made her money.
Also, she barely had anything to do with the game.
Exactly.
Like, it wasn't.
She doesn't do anything creatively with the IP anymore, I don't think. She hasn't done like the last 2 movies or the video game. So that's one thing, right? So she doesn't have much to do with the game. She just created this franchise, and she said some disparaging things about trans people, let's just say.
Yes.
Right? People freaked out about it.
Yes.
It blew up. It went on. People took to Twitter and started arguing back and forth about this game, right? When did this game come out? Earlier this year, right?
Oh man, yeah, I don't know the date.
Probably
it was
like
earlier
in
it was like
January.
Q1 of this year.
Yeah, like January or December, sometime around that time.
It was later than
Right.
January.
So people were having a hissy fit over this game, right? So some people bought it.
I mean, it was pretty big. It was like all over everything.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Certain people were getting bomb threats and death threats. So people were getting their accounts removed on like social media and like there were even people who got like literally attacked. It wasn't just like a little hissy fit.
No, I understand. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. It happens for whatever. People are like freaking.
It was February, by the way.
February.
If you were curious.
So people are like losing it over this video game, and over time, just like everything, it kind of just smooths out. If you win,
but that's not that you're missing. I feel like you're really missing what I'm saying, because you kind of just made my argument for me. You just brought up the exact same thing I was talking about with the village example. There's a vocal minority that starts this thing that disparages others. Now, obviously, they're not burning people at the stake because we're a lot more. I would like to think we're a little bit more civilized now.
Nah, you have people swatting.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's what concerns me, because it's no longer constrained to one village anymore.
Right.
It just happens all over the internet.
Yeah.
And I'm also not concerned about how things smooth over. I'm more concerned about how frequently it's happening now. It's like, what concerns me is that I feel like people are losing, or have never had. I don't know. But people are losing the ability to critically think. And it feels like it's very difficult. It's becoming increasingly difficult for me to have conversations with someone about a topic that we maybe disagree on, for example, right?
Oh, no. I think...
Without like emotions getting involved, or without me, like, and so that's what was happening with this game. Oh, you bought this game? You're my enemy.
Yeah.
Oh, you voted for this president? You must want me and my family to be deported from the United States.
Yeah.
I'm unfriending you. You're my enemy.
Yeah.
And it's like there's this like weird radical like I don't know what the right word is, but people are forming these groups, you know what I'm saying? And diverging from each other. And it's like we're dividing even more and more and more and more. And every single one of these little, vocal minority, whatever you want to call it, these things that come up cause resentment. Like people resented that community after doing that.
Right.
It causes more divides amongst people. So
Right.
it's like, it's not just in America, but I feel like in America, people are becoming divided.
I think it's yeah, I think that it's, to be honest, like I can't even, people get in these bubbles, and people stay, like you said, people get in
It's
these
made
bubbles
worse
and
by
in
like social media and shit.
No, I don't think so. I think that
I can
like,
explain how it is
I think that people literally, because if you were in real life not like that, you would be the same on the internet. There are people who are in real life live in a bubble.
I can explain how social media makes it worse.
I can. Yeah, I know that it makes it worse.
Oh, you said no earlier, so I was.
No, it makes it exacerbates something that's already happening.
Yes,
Yes,
But it exacerbates it a lot. Like it is taking people who are on the edge and turning them into radicals in what they believe in. I have a friend who was one of those. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I feel like you're drastically underplaying how much it's exacerbating it.
My thing is I don't think it's necessarily the internet. I think it's people in general.
Well,
if that makes sense.
Well, the root is people in general, but like that's the same as like the root of everything. The root of everything is people in general. The root of crime is people in general. The root of obviously the root of everything comes from people.
Right.
But you got to look at factors that are influencing it and making it manifest the way it is today. And those are the internet, bro. Like social media literally shows you what you want to see.
So what do you think this has to do with like with censorship?
Because you asked me like why do you think people, well, if people are listening to the podcast now, I'm sure they would have a better understanding of how this transitioned into this conversation than we currently do, because you're asking me to remember how we got here. And yeah, I can't exactly remember how we got here, but that's how podcasts work. We move from topic to topic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like, are you asking me to how it connects, or are you just asking me to come up with a connection?
I was just asking like
how we got here?
Okay. No, not how we got here, but like, okay, people online get into these communities and it's like an echo chamber.
I know. Yes,
how does this have to do with censorship?
Because when people are unable to have a debate with another person without getting emotionally involved and they become offended, then the rate of people getting offended goes higher. And censorship is sort of, at least in those spaces, I'm not talking about like military censorship and like not giving people nuclear codes or whatever. In those spaces is revolving around what is and isn't okay to say. And that thing of what is and isn't okay to say is the needle is being moved. It's being moved every day. It's being moved. And there's a big push back against it now because I think a lot of people have realized like it's a little ridiculous, you know?
Okay, like what is like a little ridiculous? Like what's a thing? I just want to know like an example of like what's not okay to say that you like cannot say on the internet.
Well, right now it's whatever Elon decides is not okay to say on Twitter because he can just ban your account since he owns the company. But that aside, I don't know, man. I'm just like, if I was having a conversation with you, I could bring up some more examples. But I've definitely seen like, YouTube is doing it too. Like YouTube doesn't allow you to cuss sometimes on videos because they have to get ads that or like you're not allowed to talk about certain topics.
That's what I'm saying.
That's another one. You can't talk about certain topics.
Right.
Like, dude, you want to talk about? You wanted an example? Let's talk about genders on the internet.
Right.
We can't.
You can. You 100% can.
Oscar, look me in my shits.
Yeah.
And tell me that talking about genders on the internet is going to go well.
Dude, no, I'm listen to me.
But that's my point. This
is my point. You can talk about these things. You can talk about them intelligently to other people, even if you're ignorant to certain things.
But people don't.
Listen, people don't. I understand that, but you can. You can talk about these things.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
You can do whatever. You can be the best person ever and solve, cure cancer. But the reality is people don't. And that's what I was talking about earlier. People get emotional when you talk about certain topics.
That's fine. That's on them.
But you're
that's
not
what I'm saying.
You're not getting the connection though.
Right.
When they get emotional and they get offended over and over again, that is what pushes the needle for what is okay and isn't okay to say.
Sure.
And censorship gets more severe, or the things change. Definitions of what can and can't be talked about change because people are unable to have those conversations without getting emotional.
But I don't think that. So like, let's take the example for gender.
I've definitely seen examples of like people bringing up like sexual or gender issues on social media and getting their accounts deleted because they brought it up, or a company didn't think that it was okay for them to say. I've definitely seen that happen.
Now, what did they say specifically?
I've seen examples where there was nothing they said that was in the wrong. Like they weren't offensive to anyone. They were just talking about an issue specifically.
That's what I'm asking. Is like I would need to see like these examples and stuff like that, and then you have to also think about what's the TOS for the company that they were posting on.
The TOS is changing.
That's what I'm saying.
This is how this censorship gets enforced.
I understand. The TOS for certain companies change, and if you don't like that TOS, you can go to other places.
But that's not addressing the issue. The issue is that these TOSs and these companies are changing what you are and aren't allowed to say.
Right.
And like 40 to 50% of that is coming from if people get offended or not. Because if people get offended and have issues, then it negatively impacts their view of the company. This is why when there's like, whenever there's an event, there's a big, like a terrible thing happens. Whenever there's like a huge, like someone gets murdered, or like there's a big like remembrance day, you have all these companies that post social media posts about the thing. They don't actually give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. It's coming down from the top because they want to save face. That's what happens with these TOSs.
No shit.
But
that's been like that.
But that's a problem.
Forever.
That's a problem. It's a problem that because people can't have a debate with another person without getting emotional, companies are changing what you can and can't say on the internet.
No, because people will fucking wild out. What do you like? Okay, I understand. You have to admit that if I'm a company, right, and I have to sell ad space on my website, right, and I have people acting like I have people within my in my app, like saying shit that like wouldn't be fucking okay being said on a fucking like a Xbox Live COD party.
That's not what's happening.
Dog.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about someone dropping the N-word.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying.
That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
You're talking about like people just being degenerates in an Xbox lobby. I'm not talking about that because that's been the Twitter TOS since day one. That's been the YouTube like I'm not talking about just like complete debauchery and saying like the N-word and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like people expressing their opinions like gently and respectfully is getting censored. I have seen that happen. I can't sit here and tell you the account name and show you the post right now while we're live on a podcast and just bring it up for you. But just because I can't do that doesn't mean that I haven't seen that. It doesn't mean that that's a not.
And that's fair. But that's what I'm saying is that it's a like I would say it's a case by case basis. I would have to know what that thing that you saw was in order to speak intelligently on it, if that makes any sense.
Or you can like talk about the hypothetical topic that I'm bringing up to you.
Sure. Hypothetically speaking, what are we talking about?
Well, I mean, it's what I described earlier. It's like people talking about their opinion on like a specific ethics issue, and they're getting censored because it offends people.
I think that certain things like
Xbox wasn't banning people from saying shit in Xbox Live because it was offending other people.
Yeah.
They were banning it because they didn't want commercials to show recordings of people dropping like terrible racial slurs in their Xbox Live lobbies because it brings down the amount of money they get. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the censorship needle, the what is okay and not okay to say, being moved based on people being offended.
So
that's what we're talking about.
Is it like something like what like is it like the only thing that I can think of that I've seen get like censored is like things that have to do with like violence. That's the only thing that I've noticed that like if you say like even like as a joke, if you're joking around with your buddy, like if you say like, oh, I'm gonna kick your ass or something like that.
I think you should I think you should definitely go on the internet more, because I've definitely seen far more forms of censorship than that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's in my experience, in my circles, the people that I talk to on the internet. That's like literally the
okay. So you just haven't seen it. You just don't know what I'm talking about. It's not in your circles or like the videos you watch, or like you're not aware of it.
Right. I haven't seen or heard anybody have an issue with like, oh, well, I just posted like this totally cold take on the internet.
I'll tell you what. I can send you some stuff that talks about this.
Sure.
I'd be more than happy to send you some videos talking about this specific topic, or like, show you some examples of what I'm talking. Because it sounds like you aren't aware of it.
I think another problem is that we only have like a few companies. Like, well, no. I think if you want to talk about big companies, if you don't like the TOS of a website that you're on, you can go to different websites and talk about anything. Like there are different websites that do the like whole freedom of speech, and like Elon's trying to do that with Twitter, quote unquote. But he was trying to do that with Twitter, where you can say whatever the fuck you want and not get banned for it.
It's a weird question, because like we're becoming so digital.
Yeah,
like
but you can leave those spaces.
Hear me out.
Yeah,
I think in the future, like, I can see a future where like we just speak exclusively digitally. You know what I'm saying? Or
sure.
like, I don't know if we're gonna be hooked into VR or whatever, but you get my point. Like, so it's like you got to be careful about. You definitely have to make sure that people still have the ability to talk to each other without having those policies. Like, make sure that they can set up make sure you can set up private rooms, and where the TOS of whatever company you're on isn't gonna like silence you because you said a thing they don't like.
Dude.
Like, you need people to be able to talk like friends can talk in their room. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, and you can do that right now. If I started a text message chain with you and a couple of friends, and we all texted whatever the fuck we wanted to, there's no TOS on text messaging. You could just do that.
That's the only one. That's the thing. Discord, you can. Discord DMs, you can. Twitter DMs, you can.
Yeah.
So no, it's only with texting. And now people are communicating on all these other platforms.
But that's what I'm saying. If you really wanted to have like a space where you can talk to your friends in a way that you can not be looked in on by other people.
I mean, I just think you should be able to do that when you DM someone on one of these platforms.
But there's so many fucking different ways you can do that over email. Like, you can email somebody.
Bro,
listen,
bro. When the world is literally Ready Player One, the answer to freedom of speech is not go back to email. That's running away from the problem. Like,
it's not running away from the problem.
It's not addressing the problem. It's just going.
I think,
dude, if I want to talk to you, privately, we can just do it in the living room.
Right.
I don't have to like write out on a stone tablet and mail it to you by carrier pigeon. But what you're not understanding is, in that future of Ready Player One, talking to someone over the internet has become infinitely easier than every other form of communication. It becomes the new form of communication. What I'm saying
is like,
people are born that way. People are born where, like,
I understand, but what I'm saying right now is like, we don't live in a world, and we won't live in a world that's like that for another fucking 100 years.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying is, it's getting there. You gotta address problems before they come up. You can't just wait until it's a huge fucking ethical problem and everyone is suffering from it, and then go, well, what can we do?
My thing is like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty irresponsible to just be like, I'll just let people 100 years from now deal with that.
I know. I think that it also has to do with like, I'm gonna say a hot take here. I'm gonna say a hot take. I'm gonna say
you never do that.
I'm gonna say a super hot take.
You never make hot takes.
I don't understand like people who like get like really upset, and I want to say I have empathy for people who go through this. I'm never going to.
You're not judging them or saying that.
No. I have empathy for people who go through this. I'm just saying that personally, it wouldn't. I'm not sure how it would affect me. Right?
Okay.
And I can say that as somebody who has this podcast and has it on the internet free and for the world to see, right? And I'm opening myself up to this. But like, I don't understand like people who like really take it to heart, like cyberbullying. Like, I've never gotten that. Like my dude, just close the laptop. You know what I'm saying? Like this is connecting. This is connecting.
So I just want to bring something up.
Yeah.
This is how things change. You see all that stuff you had to do before you just said that?
No. I understand, but I'm saying that I'm not. I would do that even if that wasn't happening because I'm a good person. I have empathy for people who go through
I'm sorry.
issues.
I'm gonna call cap on that. I think you do have empathy for those people. I'm not saying you're a cold-hearted.
Exactly.
But obviously, bro, you don't need to tell everybody that you have empathy. You get me?
No,
that's how people used to think of each other when they spoke.
Here's the thing.
But I wouldn't have had to disclaim all that stuff like years ago. I had a YouTube channel like when I was like 12, dude.
Right.
And like you didn't have to. Things were different. And now, years later,
I understand
you had
that.
to do that. And guess what? 10 years, 15 years later, you're going to have to do even more.
Because people back in the day didn't even believe that a problem was there.
I'm not talking about specifically cyberbullying. I'm talking about bringing up sensitive issues.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about cyberbullying.
I'm saying that you wouldn't have had to disclaim sensitive issues as harshly as you do now. That's clearly the claim I'm making right now.
Is it a bad thing that I did that? Is it a negative thing that I
think it actually is kind of negative that
Why?
I think it actually is kind of negative that you have to tell everyone before you say anything that could basically be seen offensive to anybody that here's a disclaimer. I have empathy for other people. I'm a human being that cares for others like a normal fucking human being. And just because I have this opinion doesn't mean I don't have empathy or that I think that people who suffer from this thing shouldn't suffer. Like, don't you think that's a little dumb that you have to say that?
It's not dumb. It's just giving, because there's a lot of people who don't have that. There's a lot of people.
Why'd you say it?
There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there who don't have empathy for these people. There's a lot of people out there who don't.
But why'd you?
So I'm saying that I do.
I don't know if
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people.
I don't know if I believe that you said it because you don't.
Because listen, I've been in rooms and I've been in spaces where people have just been like, "Oh, dude, all these fucking pussies who fucking kill themselves because."
Or like the Tyler the Creator post.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's people who are like that, who are fucking douchebags who don't understand that people go through different problems. And
but dude, you're very articulate. Like the way that you were about to explain it, anyone with a fucking basic brain could tell that you weren't one of those douchebags. But you don't have to give a whole 30-minute disclaimer.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't a 30-minute. Let's be honest. It wasn't a 30-minute disclaimer.
It
was probably like 30 seconds to a minute
at most.
That's
a language device that's called a hyperbole.
Yeah, I understand it was hyperbole, but what I'm saying is that it took me fucking 30 seconds to say, I have empathy. This is what I mean.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to say that.
It doesn't affect me. It doesn't, like, it only halted the conversation because somebody else brought it up.
Well, we're having a conversation about like language ethics, so it makes sense that I halted to bring it up because that was kind of my point.
Yeah,
we have to do that with a lot of stuff. Not just with cyberbullying.
I'm sure I didn't have to do that, but I did just to cover my bases. Just to say, like, I'm not saying that people who do this, like, I don't understand them.
I think you should be more conscious of how much you have to disclaim stuff nowadays.
So what if I have to disclaim, like?
Because we didn't have to use. We used to not have to do that.
We used to not have to, like, we used to fucking ride around in horses and buggies.
we also used to not have people giving SWAT threats on the internet. Things get worse.
I understand that. What does me disclaiming something and getting SWAT threats have to do with, like,
because it's a symbol of the fact that you have to say things a certain way not to offend people.
Okay.
That's why.
I'm sorry. Okay, so are you saying that,
like, I should be able to? I'll explain. Okay. I should be able to enter into the conversation freely and go, I don't understand why people are suffering from cyberbullying as much as they are. Like, I understand that it can be, difficult when you're in that moment, as things are. Sometimes it's hard to recognize what's really going on when you're in the moment. But at the end of the day, it's not. You're letting it become so integrated into your real world. You're letting yourself be so emotionally affected by it when you could step away. Like, I don't have to sit here and tell anybody that I have empathy for those people or that I don't think it's a real issue. And cyberbullying isn't the only topic where I feel like I have to disclaim that. There's been several other times on this podcast, you can go back and listen, where I've felt like I had to say, let me disclaim something, and that didn't used to be that way.
Yeah.
I would like to live in a world,
where
Oscar,
you can just,
where I
can just say stuff.
No, I'm not saying where I can just say stuff without any consequence. I understand that I'm a man and I'm responsible for what I say and if I hurt someone else's feelings, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I would like to live in a world where I can talk about real issues, and sensitive ones too, without the other person automatically assuming that I'm an asshole or a douchebag or being insensitive. That they can put their feelings aside and have a critical conversation with me about ethics. That ability of people to do that and not get emotionally involved has quantitatively deteriorated.
Okay,
and that is an issue.
Here's the problem is that you can't control how other people react to what you say.
No, and I don't claim. That's exactly, and that's why I think you shouldn't disclaim it. You can't. Don't even try to disclaim it. Just speak your mind.
Bro, I'm just okay. It's almost like I'm filling out a checklist because I know it's
Well, you did explain on one of the podcasts before that you're very methodical and you like to make sure that all the checklist is checked before you do. So it could just be some of that.
Right. I think it's a little bit of that, but even if I was talking about anime right now, right? If I was talking about anime and I was about to say, if I was going to say a statement like, oh, I don't know,
One Piece is the best anime.
Yeah, let's say One Piece or One Piece has the best animation. And then, if I said that and I said, oh, but I just want you to know that I know that in the early parts of One Piece, the animation looks really bad, but that's because it was made 20 years ago and it does not have the same technology.
Different, though.
I'm setting like a
that's different though.
A standard.
That's different.
I even do that.
That's different. That's different because you're addressing a counter argument.
Right.
That you're preparing for someone arguing against you.
That's what I felt like I was doing with that statement.
But see, there you go. That's the problem. The person arguing with you isn't actually sitting there and going, "Yeah, let's talk about cyberbullying." Like, is it true that they're going? The only argument you're preparing for is you're a douchebag that has no empathy for people who have that are cyberbullied.
No.
That's my whole point.
I just because I can nip that in the bud. If I can nip it in the bud, why don't I?
You said it yourself. Like, number one, why care how other people are going to take it? And number two,
I feel like that's not what I said. I said you can't control how other people take it.
Yes, thank you for...
You can care how other people take it.
Yes, okay. You can't control it, so why even do that, number one? And number two, at the same time, like, that specific argument is an argument that is becoming more and more popular and widespread nowadays. The argument of, like, not even getting into a debate, but being personally offended by another person or calling them insensitive is becoming more and more popular. I have noticed that, like, it's becoming increasingly difficult for me to have conversations with people, especially about particularly or possibly sensitive issues, without them getting emotionally involved. Like, I can't even have conversations with people about like factual shit without them getting upset. And a lot of that comes down to education, like how our current generation was educated.
I think that if you look back on it, people, this is not a new issue that people hold these.
And I can show you lots of, like I said, I can show you.
You think that
evidence.
people are really defensive against?
I think that no, I can articulate it specifically.
Yeah.
I think anyone who's listening to this would agree with me, and I think you'll understand what I'm saying.
Right.
That over the years, people's ability to articulate and have debates and conversations about opposing viewpoints has deteriorated. And I'll be specific. The reason it has deteriorated is because there is a bigger than ever pressure to not be wrong. And number two, they get emotionally involved. It is like they are being personally attacked when you disagree with them,
because it's like their identity, their politics or their viewpoint on a certain thing is like.
I'm glad you brought that up, because identity politics, by the way, is a new thing. Anyway,
I don't think it's a new thing.
No, there's no think. It is a new thing. Like, I can, again, if you want more evidence there, I have plenty of videos talking about identity politics and how it's relatively new. It is a new thing. So
how new would you say it is?
It started at the end of Well, it depends. Do you want to know when it was first dubbed, or do you want to know when it became prevalent?
I mean, when it became prevalent.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000. Identity politics was not a thing before the early 2000s.
Well, I literally just said, do you want to know when it was first dubbed or when it became prevalent?
I said prevalent.
And I told you when it became prevalent, and you just said it wasn't a thing before that.
Okay.
Obviously, when it's dubbed is when it is first a thing, Oscar.
Okay, sure. When it was first dubbed.
I don't know. That was pre-2000s. I can look it up. This is what you wanted, I guess. I'll look it up on the podcast.
That's all right, Jamie.
You better let Jamie be me, because you do not know how to use technology.
You are Jamie.
Let's see. Looking for it. Yeah, the term was dubbed in 1977 and didn't become prevalent until usage. And by the way, this is kind of confusing because identity politics is different from the politics of identity.
Right.
Which is very confusing. But yeah, it says right here, early 2000s, 2001.
Okay.
So again, like I said, it's a new thing. And this, like, people's ability to, like, there's so many videos of, like, explaining, like, cultural values. Like, you know all those videos of the 1960s when they talk like this on the microphone, and this is how we talk. Like, every white dude on the radio sounded exactly the same for some reason.
Yeah.
At that time, there was the sciences were becoming revolutionized. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had like a lot of big inventions were happening. And so there was this cultural emphasis on knowledge and, like, factual information. And you can hear in the way they speak to each other. Part of it had to do with radio culture at the time, but not even just on radio, like TV shows. People had this, like, since media was different and a lot newer, like TV was new, you know?
Yeah.
People spoke a lot more formally,
right.
You know? And so they took the time to form their ideas a lot more precisely and speak about it. And there's tons of, like, old debates you can watch of the ways that people that debated and how they didn't let their emotions get in the way. And people, like you said, people have this ability now. You know? You have that ability now. It's not like we've lost it. But because communication is so quick, because it's so instant, because it's so guttural, because it's so, what's the word I'm looking? Impulsive. You can tweet out a thing instantly on the internet because you got upset. And there's feedback loops where, like, you'll literally get more and more upset reading other dissenting opinions or tweets. Or because the fact that digital media is so seamlessly integrated into our day-to-day lives that it's no longer a talk show that you get ready to go on and you formulated your opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's like just normal communication.
Yeah.
The difference is, instead of normal communication, which goes away, it stays up forever, unless it gets, removed or censorship, but it stays up. Mm-hmm. And so you get the worst of it. So it's just kind of like a nasty feedback loop, and people's ability to have dissenting opinions and talk about it without getting emotionally involved or getting offended has deteriorated.
I think it also has to do with, like, the culture around debates, and let's say politics in general, because let's say in boot camp, I was let's take my time in the military, right? I'm pretty, I don't know, a lot of my friends know that I'm a pretty liberal guy, right? And I went into the military, which is a pretty much, almost like, I'd say about 80 to 90% conservative. The kind of people who go into the military, sure. I would say.
Oh yeah,
people.
I would say it's fair that people associate.
100.
Military people with more conservative
100%,
viewpoints,
right?
Yeah.
So I went into the military, and we went into boot camp, and in boot camp I used to have, like, conversations, like, every night. We would have like 15 to I don't remember if it was like 15 or 30 minutes of, like, downtime where you could, like, read letters and, like, get ready for the next day. And, like, pretty much every night, almost every night, I would have, like, people come over to my corner once they found out, like, my worldviews and stuff like that, and try and debate me, which I love. And you guys know this. I love to argue. I love to have debates. I love to talk about different opinions, especially if somebody has a different opinion than I do, right? Yeah. And that's true. You guys, tell me if I'm wrong. If we had some nights where we stayed up until, like, 4 a.m.
Hopefully, if you do it in order to grow and
Yeah,
possibly change your own opinions, not just to argue.
Exactly. I do it to get a better perspective of the people around me. I like to do it to understand the people that I'm either friends with or working with and stuff like that. Just to have.
You are a rarity, my friend.
Just to have, and I'm
not
saying,
a lot of people do that.
Now I do this a lot, and I do this with a lot of different people. I did it with people with other people who are in my section. I've done it with of my roommates. I've done it with people that I worked with in the Marine Corps, right? All the time, right? And I've always had one phrase or statement that has come up time to time that happens a lot. And even in the civilian world, this happens a lot. And people will say like, oh, I don't like to talk about politics because X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
It just gets to whatever.
Messy
or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that people like avoid talking about it.
I agree.
Like person to person.
I agree.
Because it's messy. Even like now.
Like they don't know how to handle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like a confrontation thing, maybe.
But I think it's like a muscle
stress.
though. I think it's like a muscle. If you don't know how to like debate someone, or if you don't know how to like respectfully disagree with somebody.
Yes, I totally agree with what you're saying.
But I think that if you did that more on a on a person to person basis,
yes,
in real life,
yes,
with other people,
yes,
you would be better about it online.
I agree. I 100% agree. 100% agree.
Yes,
I 100% agree. But that's what I'm saying is like that. I think that's part of like the issue why these dumpster fires happen online, because people just get pissed.
Exactly. But it's not because people are too sensitive. I don't think. I think it's because people get into a
Continue.
I think it's that people get into a what's it called? This I lost my train of thought.
You were saying you don't think it's because people are too sensitive.
No, I don't think it's because people are too sensitive. I think it's because they get into
like a combative mode, or like a fight or flight mode.
I'll say it's like if you had to do it on a stage, right? If you were debating somebody on a stage and somebody was like,
that's the
dunking on you.
But see, okay, so you're talking about like the self-defense thing. People get defensive. That's the word you're looking for.
It's not that specifically. It's like if you're on the internet, it's like you're in public. It's like that's tied to you. And if you are seen as like the loser.
Remember how I said people are afraid to be wrong?
Yes.
Remember when I said that earlier?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
It's like there's more pressure than ever to not be wrong.
Exactly.
You're the loser. You're gonna lose the argument.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is that if those two people were to have the same conversation face to face, it would not get to that point.
I mean, it might. It depends on it depends on the people. I mean, it's at least fair to say it depends on the people, dude.
For sure.
And it also depends on
I think there's less
depends on how inebriated they are.
Would you say there's less of a chance?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Because in real life, there's things like body language. Okay. Another thing is, here's another factor I feel like you're glossing over here, right? Most of the time in person, when these debates happen, right? There's like, I won't say most of the time, but it's more likely when they happen in person that you're a little bit prepared to have a conversation like this. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you go to a party and so you expect there to be a lot of people there, right? And you start, or you're in a situation where you're socializing with people, you know? But on the internet, it just kind of happens. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just checking your Twitter feed that day, you know? And you see a post by someone you don't even know saying something you disagree with. And so you just like post a comment in there and someone starts arguing with you in the comment chain.
Yeah.
That's how these things go. And so
Bro,
that's the other factor is that
I don't know. I kind of have, dude, I used to get into, because it's kind of hard for me to fucking sympathize with people who like get mad that other people get offended on the internet, because like when I was fucking 13 years old, I used to get into fights like that on Facebook with people I didn't even know.
Yeah, everybody's done that, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And like at a certain point,
you realize,
like 13, 14-year-old me realized that this is fucking stupid.
Yeah, but not everyone does that, bro. Yeah. Not everyone realizes this is fucking stupid. They just keep doing it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's fucking stupid.
I mean, I agree. You're never going to hear me disagree that it's fucking stupid. But people still feel that way. That's what I'm saying. And like, there's no one's talking about this. Who is talking about this?
Everyone's talking about this. You
what?
talking about like how people get offended all the time?
Yeah, but I feel I'm saying like no one's talking about the solution.
Oh, well.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, everyone knows that this whole like offensive thing is like a thing.
Yeah.
But no one's sitting here going like the thing you just said of like, dude, I can either get all upset that someone gets offended, or I can just accept that it's gonna happen and be empathetic. Like, that's the cure when you're having a debate with someone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just
is like
step
empathy.
into somebody's shoes. Be empathetic. That's what I think that a lot of people are missing out on is there's and if you really want to know what I think the problem is that there's a lot of lack of empathy these days.
I think it's way easier to be empathetic with someone in person than a fucking profile picture and some text on a screen.
Yeah.
So that is a classic example of technology making it worse.
But I still don't think that people are empathetic enough even in person.
No, but
people definitely. I would say people are definitely not empathetic.
But they're
at
least a little bit more.
Because and this goes back to what I was saying earlier. People live in these bubbles that and I was lucky enough to be born into a family where I got to get out of I fucking couldn't stay in a bubble for long enough because I had to move constantly. So I got to see different things. I got to experience different people. I got to talk to different people from different walks of life since I was a child. So
that's pretty rare.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that
there's probably only like 2% of people who had that experience as a kid.
Yeah, I understand, but that's what I'm saying is that there's the solution to this is getting to outside of that bubble and talking to.
Well, it's to gain knowledge. It's like expanding your horizons and gaining knowledge.
It's like fucking Vinland Saga. I have no enemies. That's what I think that's what people need right now.
Yeah, when he's like, who is really your enemy?
Yeah, who is really your enemy? Nobody is born to be.
No one on
enemy.
the internet is out there unless there's like a specific reason. The person you're arguing with on the internet doesn't even know you.
Exactly.
It's not like they're out here to shit on your day specifically.
Exactly. It's like
they have no personal motivation in fucking you over or being your enemy.
Exactly. I have no enemies. There's no one in this world that I think is like naturally just angry at me.
Oscar Wheeler
should be
he needs to be brought down.
Should have an issue with me because I haven't done anything. Now, are there people who have
that doesn't mean you're naive. That doesn't mean you're naive.
Exactly. Are there people who have bought into something, have maybe started thinking
like groupthink?
Yeah, exactly. Have been raised to think a certain way about me and other people like me? Sure. But I'm sure that with enough time and enough empathy that could be broken. I've seen it happen.
But the problem is there's a lack of empathy right now, which is what you were talking about.
Yeah. I've seen it happen in the military. I've had friends, and I won't name names.
Sure.
I've had friends who have literally told me, yeah, when I got into the Marine Corps, I fucking hated this race, and then I started hanging out with X, Y, and Z, and they're of that race. And I was like, man, I was wrong because these people are really fucking cool. Yeah. And I was like, no shit. And I was like, wow, I'm so happy you've had that experience. That is what I believe the answer is that people need to get out and go fucking touch grass and get off the
thing. Yeah, the thing you're talking about is having experiences.
Yeah.
And I am of the belief that it boils down to knowledge. It boils down to actual knowledge.
Yeah.
And when people hear knowledge, they think semantic knowledge. They think like reading a textbook or going on Google and learning about stuff. And hey, I totally encourage you to educate yourself. But having experiences and wisdom and gaining knowledge is the cure to this kind of shit.
Yeah.
I think that this is a little bit trippy to talk about. This is a little bit esoteric, but I just want to say this. Let's say you were to let's make a hypothetical really quick, and then we got to talk about the gambit and wrap up the show.
Sure.
Let's talk about a hypothetical. So let's say you were to take a sentient being, like a normal human, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were to just kind of let's say he's out in a shack in the woods or something. He doesn't have a lot of human interaction. He has some. He goes to the town every now and then. He's not a hermit, but he doesn't have a lot. And you were to just slowly increase his consciousness level, you were to slowly give him real knowledge and increase his awareness of the universe. And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like it's inevitable that if this person were to slowly keep going and going and going and going until they understood things, they would be empathetic.
Yeah.
They would be loving. You know, they would
Yeah.
be a caring person. And I feel like that should show a pattern.
There's even fucking animals. They've done like studies with monkeys. Monkeys like know they have empathy for one another. Like they know what was the study? There was like a
I believe you. I mean, I'm not gonna call you out.
They gave like there's a thing to where like they gave like 3 monkeys 2 bananas or something like that, and like one of the monkeys broke the banana in half and gave it to the monkey that didn't have a banana because it like
he felt bad for him.
Yeah,
He was like, here, bro.
It had fucking empathy. Like it knows. You know what I'm saying?
But I feel like those are the 2 lessons to take away from this, is that the antidotes are gaining knowledge and experiences and empathy.
Yeah.
If you can do those 2 things, then you'll probably act in a way that you think is right.
Yeah, I think that if I argue with somebody on the internet and they really get that mad about like something that I say, me as a person would be like, I would try and understand why they're so mad and try and get a better understanding of that person, and
as long as you're not emotionally compromised, like as long as you're not like getting defensive yourself. Because when you're getting that way yourself, it's hard to just snap a finger and be the Buddha. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but it's not like I said. It's you have no enemies. There's no reason for anyone to be naturally upset against you. Right. Yeah. So, but like we said before, we get out of here, we're gonna put a pin in that topic, which I thought that was a really good.
I like talking about those kind of things.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I feel like we came to a good lesson at the end. You know, like we really boiled down what the problem was.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But the gambit.
Yeah, the gambit. So you may have noticed that we haven't been talking about the gambit in the last couple of episodes. That's because we've decided that we're going to keep it to every 5 episodes. We'll give you a gambit update. And
because a lot of things are kind of the same. It takes a while for there to be an update. We don't want to just be every gambit is me complaining about wrestling and him complaining about Elden Ring like every single week.
Exactly. Now you have to wait 5 weeks to hear us complain. So Nathan, how about you start us off?
Yeah. Well, you want me to just kind of off the dome talk about like my experience?
Sure.
Well, we've watched a lot. There's been some like a couple schedule hiccups here and there, but that's
100%.
That's life.
Yeah.
And
that's what all the people say.
Yeah, and I'm also responsible for some of those. But honestly, like I discovered turning wrestling into a drinking game, I kind of like.
Oh yeah.
It's quite fun.
It was pretty fun.
Because it's like so silly to me. Like wrestling is still silly to me. But when it's a game, I was like into it. Like I was like, oh fuck, he got out. That's a kick out. Oh shit, there was a kick out. I got to drink now, you know?
So the rules to our game, so I had him watch a pay-per-view, and for the entirety of the pay-per-view, we had to drink every time somebody kicked out of a move.
I have it right here. I have the rules.
What are the rules?
Chop. If someone gets any chops is a drink.
Yeah.
If they are slow going up the ladder for the ladder matches, drink. And
drink.
that was a big culprit.
Yeah.
Any kick out is drink.
Yes.
If you lose, so you have to pick who you think is going to win. We take turns picking who picks first. And then if that person loses, the person who they thought was going to win has to chug.
Yeah, has to finish their drink, and that fucking killed me.
Yeah, we had it at chug, but we changed it to let's just make it so they have to finish their drink, because then you don't chug 5 times in a row like Oscar had to do.
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad.
Table, if someone gets smashed into a table, everyone has to chug.
Yeah.
And if there's a DQ, a disqualification, both people have to finish their drink. So that was the rule, and I liked it. I like. Everyone likes being drunk, but I thought it was fun. But I want to talk about something real quick before you talk about Elden Ring.
Sure.
I'm starting to realize, I'm starting to kind of get, looking past how ridiculous their antics are, how unrealistic their moves are.
Yeah.
And trying to get immersed in the script, because it's a script, it's a play. Like
Right.
Not every time, but most of the time, it's scripted who's going to win. But they don't sit there and script every single detail of what happens.
Yeah.
But, I can't say I'm not, like, immersed in a movie just because they wrote it to be a certain way. That doesn't make any sense. So I've started to try and think about wrestling as, like, a play and to just, like, become immersed in it. It doesn't matter if it's fake. It doesn't matter if it's staged. And I think what stopped me this whole time is I've had this view of it as it pretends to be real even though it's fake.
Yeah.
But so does every other form of media.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if a movie was, like, intentionally unrealistic and took you out of it all the time, it wouldn't be a good movie.
Yeah, or, like, if it was specifically to break the fourth wall, like a Deadpool or something like that.
But, like every second, it wouldn't be a good movie. Like, what are we even watching anymore?
Right.
So I'm not totally there, but I'm, like, starting to get it. But I've discovered that I don't want to get it. Like, there's a part of me that's like, no, I don't want you to actually get hype about it. It feels embarrassed to.
Because
it feels embarrassed.
It doesn't feel cool.
Because there's a stigma. Because there's a stigma about wrestling. And I don't want to feel, no offense to, here I am disclaiming, but no offense to anyone who likes wrestling or thinks it's cool. I'm not calling you a dork. But I don't want to feel like a dork that I got hype about a move,
Yeah.
And so now I have to deal with that, where there's this, like, barrier in myself.
But that's
like,
what I'm
stopping
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's fucking lame, don't you think? Don't you think that's fucking lame that you have that you can't just enjoy something because
it is
you're
lame.
You're
who cares, right? Like,
exactly.
Who cares?
You're a grown ass man. Dude, trust me, and, like, I get that. Like, I know how it's like being an anime fan. It is exactly like
and you walk into a room and you can read the audience. You're like, these guys do not care about anime.
No. It's like being an anime fan and you're in a room with somebody who's also an anime fan, but they like to make do like the voices and stuff like that, and like, oh, I'm Deku.
Oh, you mean like they're a weeb?
Yeah, they're like a
weeb,
like a not even like a weeb, but like somebody who like lives it, who thinks that like a Naruto runner, like somebody who goes around the school.
I would
like
call
Naruto
that
running.
Oscar. I would call that a weeb.
Yeah, sure, a weeb.
That's a weeb.
Like
they got the body pillows.
Yeah, exactly.
The weeb. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. And like, if you say like, yeah, I'm an anime fan and like I really enjoy the storytelling and stuff like that, and then somebody were to go like, oh, so you have like body pillows and you think that
it's a stereotype.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like that. Is that gonna stop me from watching anime? No. Is it unfortunate that these people won't even give it a shot because they think that this is what anime is? Yes. And so like that's the same. It's the same with wrestling. Like, sure, if you think that it's like lame to do, but like, who gives a shit what other people think? It's cool. Like, I think it's cool. Like,
I'm not at the point where I think it's cool.
You don't think it's cool,
but I don't judge you for thinking it is.
But you're literally, what you said was like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I heard, it sounds like you're literally actively stopping yourself from enjoying it too much.
It's not that active. It's not that conscious.
It's like a subconscious. It's like subconsciously you're like, no, I don't want to like.
Nah, it's not that I'm stopping myself from enjoying it. It's just that like I'm like the barrier is more to me being fully immersed or like giving a fuck about the storylines and all that shit. I can still get into it, like, especially when we do the drinking game stuff. I like, but I'm just saying we just need to keep cracking at it. Like, we just need to keep.
All I'm saying is like, just let it go, and just have fun. And I think what really is harming the experience,
other people being there,
is other people being there.
Dude, I'm gonna tell it to you like this: it already takes a lot for me to let go in general, like in my life. But with that, just let go and have fun. That takes a lot, bro. As soon as another person walks in that room, I'm off. It's shut off immediately. It's shut off immediately. Yeah. And so that's going to be hard for me. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
But that doesn't happen as much when I'm drinking, I think.
Yeah. No, because you're not as self-conscious.
Right.
And so that's why like I feel bad, because like I would, in a perfect world, I would like them to come and sit down and like watch also, but I feel like every time that somebody does, it's just like, oh, it's time to shit on it, and then and it's just like, come on, man, we're doing something here.
But there is also something I have learned, which is that outside of the whole thing we just talked about, there are wrestling matches I'm just fucking bored.
No, for 100%.
There are wrestling matches where like it's not even that, it's just that I'm not entertained.
100%. And there are misses in all of them. I agree. Not everybody's at the top of the card for a reason. Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't need to watch, and there are sleepers too. There are matches where you don't expect it to actually be entertaining, and like it actually is pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
But everything you show me from New Japan or like Forbidden Door, I don't know if it's the way that they set it up or the way that their production is, or like if there's a Japanese crowd, if that influences. I don't know what it is, but something about it makes it more interesting to me. It makes it more engaging and entertaining to me.
Right.
And I definitely like the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I think the pay-per-views I like a lot more because it's like a longer form thing.
Right.
And there's this whole like journey that the fighters go on.
Yeah. It's literally supposed to. The reason that pay-per-views are better is that they're designed to be that way. They're designed to make you want to pay $50 to fucking watch this shit.
Yeah.
It has to be good. If it isn't, it wouldn't sell.
I agree.
Yeah. So
but that's my update on wrestling.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So for me and my Elden Ring.
Well, why don't you tell them where you've gotten?
So
we'll just go from there.
First of all, before I even start with anything, I would like to just give a huge thank you to everyone who's watched the Renala video.
Oh yeah, seriously.
That video is looking to be the first video we're gonna get to 100 views on the channel, and
well, if you don't count the music that I uploaded before we started Two Dudes.
Was it? Yeah, but I don't think anything on the channel's at 100 views.
It is.
Yet. Is it?
Yeah, I have a video on the channel that's got 127 or something like that. It's one of the songs I uploaded.
Well, it's one of our videos that's
it's a Two Dudes video.
Yeah, it's a Two Dudes video that's gonna get 100 views, and I'm very also you just did the thing again, but I thought that it would be apt to thank you guys for supporting us with that, because we worked, and Nathan for sure worked very hard editing and making that video. And I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it, and that everybody I talked to about it seemed like they liked it.
The feedback was cool.
Oh,
the
yeah.
feedback was very
Really
fulfilling.
good. Yeah, it was really great feedback. And just
and there's a part 2 coming out because Oscar fought that boss more.
Oh yeah, I did.
So
did I beat her?
That's for you to
Spoiler.
Find out.
Yes, because
okay, bro. I was gonna let them find out, bro.
Well, I'm gonna have to talk. I'm gonna have to talk about it.
No, you're right. You're right. Obviously.
What am I gonna not talk about my Elden Ring experience?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they thought you like
left.
Or
something.
I don't know. Yeah.
But Mama didn't raise no quitter, so I wouldn't just quit on a boss without beating him.
Okay, I'll remember those words.
Not even once.
Oh, I'll remember those words.
Not even once. Not even if there's a fire.
So where are you at now? Where
Where am I at?
Well, you just did. Yeah, you're about to do some spelunking, right? Remember?
Yeah. So okay. So I'll just go in order. So I beat Renala. And then I was kind of aimless for a little while there. I went down into this, what was it called?
You talking about the underground area?
Yeah,
that's called Siofra River Well. That was the place with like the glowy sparks in the sky and the lightning balls.
Yeah,
that's Siofra.
Yeah, I went down there, and like I was solving this puzzle, where I had to like touch these stones to unlock this area to fight this deer guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And dude, that area kind of pissed me off because it had these guys, right? These like astral projected like wildebeest spirit dudes, and they would like shoot these arrows that like one shot.
Yeah,
dude,
and they're like the fastest arrows in the game.
They are like the fastest in the West, bro. If you like pop up on their like
it's instant.
It's instant.
It's like the 50 cal from Halo.
Exactly.
Like,
there's nothing
your shields are gone.
There's nothing you can do. And so I ended up fighting that deer guy.
Yeah, you fought the ancestral spirit.
And I beat him on my first try.
Yup, he did. I can't take that from him.
You can't. And then after that, I got kind of bored with hanging around there, and I went to go.
You tried to do the Ronnie quest line.
I went to go to
Caelid?
I went to Caelid.
Oh yeah, you did go to
Caelid. I had to fucking get past this like other dude who was shooting a giant ass arrow. Oh, dude. And no, actually, there was 2 of them.
Wait, who was shooting an arrow in Caelid?
There was because I had to. It was after I got out of that. There's like a secret passageway that I found
Oh, you're
out.
talking about when you go up the elevator.
Yeah, and I went up the
yeah,
elevator.
yeah. Okay, right.
And then I was getting arrows shot at me.
You found the giant like pot guy.
Yeah, I found the giant pot guy. Talked to him, unlocked these two people that were trying to attack me, and I was like, I dipped out of that situation because I didn't feel like fighting them.
And now where you currently are, you're at a branching point where there's basically two places you can go. I mean, you can go anywhere, but as far as like traditional orthodox game route, there's two places you can go. And pretty soon here, you're going to be fighting another main boss. But you got some stuff to do first. Some underground stuff to do. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I want to.
You did Castle Morn too, and you fought
I fought the spirit up there.
Yeah. On the horse.
Yeah. I beat her with the goons.
With the goons.
Wasn't
first try though.
It wasn't the first try. It was like the fifth or sixth or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But we got there.
Yep.
And then I went into the there was like a cave I went into. That place pissed me off. Oh man, that place pissed me off.
Why'd the cave piss you off, buddy?
Dude, because...
Oh, you talking about the catacombs?
Yeah, the catacombs.
Oh, he does not like catacombs,
dude,
y'all.
Fuck that, dude.
You talking about the imp statues and all the booby traps and the pressure plates?
Yeah.
Catacombs are literally... If anyone like plays D&D at all, I always say that like the catacombs are like these little sections where the developers just decided to be like DMs that fuck on the players. Like the developers were like, all right, I need to take out my frustration by how hard I've been working on Elden Ring. I'm going to design a catacomb today.
My wife's been annoying me at home, so I'm going to take it out on these nerds.
By designing a hell catacomb.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to doing more catacombs, bud, because there's going to be a lot more. And they give you really good shit. Oh, you know how you use like goons and spirits and stuff?
Yeah.
The best ones are all from catacombs.
Great.
So... well, the last thing I want to ask you before we wrap up is, talk to me about your feelings with the game. I mean, like, you've been playing for a while now.
Yeah.
You're not even halfway done, but you're definitely starting to get into it. Like,
it feels good. It's to the part like I'm still not to like. When I play a video game, right? I'll say it like this. When I normally play a video game that I want to play, I usually like get home from like school or work or whatever I'm doing that day. I sit down in my bed and like, I'll be watching TV and I'm like, I'm bored. Let me hop on Apex, or let me play some what have I been playing lately? I've been playing some Civ 6. Super relaxing.
I like Civ 6, yeah.
Super good to get into.
It also has its fair challenge.
Shout out Cotton for putting me on the Civ 6, because like I've been playing games that just like, kind of I could chill out to, or with Apex I can talk to friends and I can play with.
There's a social aspect.
Yeah, there's a social aspect to it. And like I have fun and I have a good time with them. And like, I may not win all the time, or I may struggle, but like it's okay, because that's what games are.
It's just a recreational thing.
Yeah. And it's like something I can do. It's something I can do in the, just like on my free time.
Elden Ring is.
Elden Ring.
It's a different kind of game.
I feel like I clock into a job. I feel like I have to use like 100% of my brain power at all times just to survive.
Elden Ring is for, I can't say what a game is for, but Elden Ring is for people who want to get a sense of achievement. Like they like hunger for that. And say what you want, maybe that's a bad thing because they're not getting enough achievement in their daily lives. But that's not true for everybody. There's lots of people who play Elden Ring, but it's definitely a game where like you have to want that sense of like,
exactly,
I fucking did it. It's not like, because I love fucking Animal Crossing, dude. I have played Animal Crossing when it came out, like back on the fucking like GameCube and shit. You know what I'm saying? I love those kinds of games. Stardew Valley, love those kinds of games. Harvest Moon, love those kinds. I get the appeal, and it's like cozy, Right. I love that shit. Sometimes you just want to fucking chill.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
That's what I use video games to do. Is I use video games to relax. I cannot relax with fucking. I cannot relax with Elden Ring.
I use video games for more than that, because I discovered Dark Souls when I was younger, and so it like opened me up to another type of Oh, fuck, it's not Pride Month anymore. It opened me up to another type of experience that I can have from games. So it's definitely going to be, I can understand that it's not what you're used to.
Right.
It's definitely a different kind of thing.
Right.
But I'm just proud that you've made it this far. I really am. I really am proud that you got where you are now in Elden Ring. And, you know, I give you shit for the bosses you beat, but the next main boss and the bosses, the shit you're going up against, I won't be able to say shit anymore. I won't be able to do anything but respect you for taking them out, because the training wheels come off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
At a certain point in the game, they're like, all right, you made it this far. We're just gonna start tossing the hard shit at you. Like, good luck.
Yeah. I would like people to leave in the comments below. So the Gambit, and this is something that I talked with my dad about. He asked me like how long this is gonna last, and if you don't remember when we originally made the Gambit is supposed to last until I beat the game.
Yeah.
I just want to know in the comments. You could just leave something, also a like or whatever. But you can leave in the comments, how long do you think it's going to take me to beat the Gambit? I think that I could beat this game probably end of this year, beginning of next.
I think you should give yourself more credit. At the rate you're currently going, I think you're going to beat the game this year. It'll definitely be Q4, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it'll take you.
Yeah.
Although we do have that's only 2 weeks.
How many?
That's only 2 weeks.
How many main bosses? How many main bosses do I have left?
I don't know. It's like what like the ones
like
you have
minimum.
to beat.
Let's
to
say
beat.
minimum.
Oh, minimum?
Yeah.
There's only like 7.
Okay.
But that's not how you're gonna do it.
Right,
like,
because I still need XP and stuff
well,
like
you would
that.
have to be like a fucking like speedrunner. You know what I'm saying? Or someone who's used to these games to just only get by killing the main bosses. Like, you do need to supplement your experience with other shit.
Right.
So that's not how it's going to go. But I don't think you're going to fight all 120 of the bosses in the game.
Right.
I think you're probably looking at like more like 30 or 40. And so I think honestly like December time, you know?
Yeah,
like
that's what I was thinking.
November, December.
I was thinking December, January.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean,
yeah. Let me know, people. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, leave a comment. Let's get predictions.
Yep.
Well, cool. It is well over time, but I'm happy. I feel like we had a nice...
if you get it right, I'll give you a kiss. You can take that to the bank.
Oscar, you I couldn't help but notice you didn't say pause.
I didn't. I don't know who's gonna get it right.
Okay. Well, I guess we should wrap up now.
I'm sorry. Is it wrong to not?
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
Is it wrong to kiss the homies?
I'm not touching that.
Do you not kiss your homies?
I don't kiss my homies.
That's
Oscar.
oh man.
Am I missing out?
I thought you were. Man. Yeah. That's sick. That's honestly sick.
You're disgusting.
You disgust me. But yeah, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Cool, man. Well, thanks to everybody for sticking with us. We're going to get back on track with these episodes. I hope you enjoyed our philosophical debate. We went... Oh, really?
Oh, he's going to have a fucking...
Well, I enjoy... I'm glad to hear it, honestly. And you know, we went a little bit longer, but I'm not even stressed about it because I feel like we talked about a lot of cool shit, you know? Like, it was a good episode. So, thank y'all for listening. Like he said, leave a like, leave a comment. It really helps out the channel. Subscribe. It helps us grow a lot. We're just small. We're small, and we're trying to grow as much as we can.
Also, tell your friends. We're not a fucking secret society.
Yeah, dude.
You don't have to like keep it like a closely kept secret. It's okay for us to prosper.
Share us with friends.
Yeah, it's okay. Like I don't know if you send like just keep this to yourself.
If you send a video to your friends because you think it's funny and it doesn't have a lot of views and they think it's funny, you're cool.
Yeah.
You're cool. You found some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
You're a tastemaker.
Yep.
You're a tastemaker.
Like
That's
that.
what you are.
Tastemakers.
Yeah. Be a tastemaker. Don't follow these trends. Start one.
That's
God
right.
damn it.
That's right. And if you believe in us, we can take over the world and get our plan for world domination.
Exactly.
But that being said,
that's definitely not in TOS. But you know, whatever.
I think it's time to wrap it up, my man.
All right, man.
Why don't you take us out of here?
Listen, people, you already know what it is. You already know who we are and who we're about. what we're about.
You were about?
And
Man.
And listen, you never know what anybody's going through. So be kind to everybody. Literally everybody. You have no enemies. And until next time, peace out.
Kiss your homies. I'm
Kiss
out
your
of here.
homies.
Later.